We've just returned from an 8-week trip in our RV, and during that time we had to make some changes to make sure it was enjoyable. I'm going to tell you what those changes were in this episode of Travels with Delaney. Welcome back, everyone. If this is your first time here at Travels with Delaney, welcome. My name's Patrick, and we are your channel all about RVing and living life to the fullest. Now, you may have seen a video we put out just recently on 15 modifications and changes we made to our trailer this spring before we departed on our summer trip. But once we hit the road within just a few days, we realized there were a few things that still needed to be taken care of. And so in this video, what I want to do is show you those changes that we made early on in the trip that really took us from having a good time to a really enjoyable time in our RV. Now, one of the last changes we made on this trip, we made right near the end, and that was with our navigation system. Now, if you stay to the end of the video, I'll let you know what changes we made with navigation, and I will share with you my thoughts on it up to this point. There will be a full review coming out on that product later on, but I'm still in the process of trying it out and deciding how I feel about it. So let's go ahead and jump right into this video, and we're going to go inside and I'm going to show you the first change we made on this trip that honestly changed the whole mood of the trip. We had only been on the road for a couple of nights when I knew we had to make a change. I was waking up and my back was hurting, but it didn't make any sense because we had just purchased this brand new gel foam mattress from Mattress Insider this winter, and we were loving the mattress, but I was still waking up with a sore back. So the third morning when I woke up, I was trying to figure out why right near my hip region I was really hurting. And I reached to the side of the mattress and I noticed that the back half of the mattress was at one level and the bottom half of the mattress dropped way down. Now, in our RV, we have a split mattress because you can fold our mattress up and make the bottom half into a sofa. So what was happening was the bottom half of the mattress was sinking down, and that's what was causing the issue. We absolutely love the mattress itself. In fact, we love it so much, we bought the same exact mattress in the 11-inch for our house here, and we're loving it already. So I had to figure out a way that when the mattress was sitting here, that it would not sink down into the couch. So it was literally doing one of these. It's really just the way it was designed, and I'm not sure that Lance could have done anything different. They did put a small piece of wood back here where theoretically the mattress might catch and hold it in place, but the truth is it's just wasn't enough. So my solution was to run down to Home Depot, and I purchased a 1/4-inch sheet of Luan. Now it ended up running me about $18, and then Home Depot will do the first few cuts for free. So I asked them to take that 4x8 sheet and cut it down to, in essence, half of our mattress. So I wanted the width of the mattress, but then I only wanted half. And I went ahead and I brought it back to the campground where we're staying. I kind of cut off the corner so in the front there would be no sharp corner that might poke down and put a hole in the sofa, and then I wrapped the edges with Gorilla Tape, again just as a protective measure. So what we now have is we have that Luan that's coming out over the sofa, so that when we go ahead and we make our mattress up to be a bed, now we have full support right there at the seam, and that way we're not getting that sinking motion. The very next morning I woke up, I slept well, and I had no achiness. And this performed flawlessly for the rest of the trip. So it was a simple solution. Now, I will tell you what I did do. The reason I cut the Luan to half the mattress is that in theory, if we still want to make this into a sofa, all I have to do is slide that sheet of Luan to the back and it'll fit under half of the mattress, and then we can go ahead and make it into a couch. In reality though, there's a couple things. Number one, we only ever made the couch into a couch one time over the course of 8 weeks. We honestly just don't use the couch that often because we love the dinette in our trailer. The other thing that I didn't take into consideration is fabric and Luan don't necessarily get along together when you're trying to push. So can it be slid to the back? Yes, but it does really require both myself and my wife Patty so that she can lift up on the mattress and slide the Luan to the back. But that $18 piece of Luan ended up changing the whole tone of our trip because we both slept great over the course of that 8 weeks. If you're interested in the Mattress Insider mattress that we have both here in the RV and in our home, then I will put a link down below in this description. And if you decide to call Mattress Insider, which I highly recommend because their customer service is absolutely phenomenal, and they'll actually help you pick out the mattress that's right for you so you get the best night's sleep. They also can custom make them like they did for us if you need something different in your RV for your mattress. But if you do call them, make sure you give them the code Delaney so that you can get the discount, which is the same discount you would get if you use the link down below. All right, let's move on to the second change that we made during the trip. At the start of the trip, we were down in Texas. It was hot and it was humid, and our towels would not dry when we were boondocking, and there was no place to go actually dry them. Now, we've been using for a while now towels like this from IKEA, and we really like them. They're nice towels, they're not overly pricey, and the one thing we really liked about them is the IKEA towels actually come with these hooks sewn in so you can just hang them up. But the problem was they just were not drying for us. They just really hold the water. So within about the second week of our trip, we ended up finding a solution. Now, a lot of people had recommended that we order Turkish towels, but with traveling, it was really hard to coordinate a delivery from Amazon, and we really couldn't find any in stores. But what we did find was at Bed Bath & Beyond, these waffle style towels that actually claim to be quick drying, and they come from a brand called Wild Sage. Now, they're still nice and soft, but they do have kind of a waffle texture to them. What we found was these ended up working a lot better. Now, again, they don't dry quickly, but they dry much quicker than the IKEA towels, but yet at the same time, they were still nice and absorbent and soft. The other nice thing was we paid, I believe, $7 a piece for these bath towels, and then obviously hand towels and washcloths were less expensive. They also had a wide range of colors, but ultimately just by having towels that would actually dry out much quicker made things a lot more efficient here in the trailer when we were boondocking in those really hot and humid locations. Speaking of hot and humid, we realized early on that our little fan that was USB powered wasn't going to be enough to move the kind of air that we needed when it was really hot and humid out and we were boondocking. So our solution was to run to Costco and pick up one of these Omni Breeze tower fans. Now, Costco back in June was running these for $20. And we really like this fan for a couple of reasons. Number one, it is a 4-speed fan, so you have 4 options, and it does oscillate. It also has a built-in timer, and it has some fancy settings. Heck, it even comes with a remote control, which we never even used once, but you do have that option. It's fairly lightweight, it's very portable, it was easy to pack and unpack here in the trailer, but ultimately what it did was it moved a lot more air for us to keep that airflow going in the trailer. The other nice thing about this was it was not an energy hog. We actually would run this all night long using our Bluetti EB70 power bank. Now, that particular unit you may have saw the video on, and I can link that video for you, but that was a 716 amp hour lithium battery pack, and we could literally run this fan on high all night long and still have power left the next morning on our Bluetti. So this fan just really allowed, again, for some comfort to keep the airflow moving here in the trailer. Now, the other issue I mentioned was humidity. We also went ahead and tried to solve that problem, and we did that by ordering from Amazon this small dehumidifier. Now you can see it's really small. It just sets on the counter. Just runs off of 110, and again, if we were boondocking, we could just plug this into our Blue Eddy and run it off of that. Very low power consumption. Real simple, you just turn it on, set it out. It does have a light feature, which I currently have turned off, but you can turn on the light feature, so if you want to leave it on at night and have some light. But ultimately, it's just taking moisture out of the air, and it collects down below, and you can see we're running it here at home, and we've already collected some water in there. So sometimes making yourself feel more comfortable has to do with humidity, and this was just a inexpensive way for under $50 to be able to reduce the humidity in our trailer. The next change that we made on the road this summer, we changed for one reason and found out it had other positive effects. So we ended up buying this induction cooktop at IKEA early on in the trip because our stove is under recall from Dometic, and you're not supposed to use either the oven or the stove. We thought we were going to be able to get it fixed, but unfortunately there's a part shortage and they could not get the parts we needed to fix it. So we needed a way to maybe cook or boil water or whatever. So we picked up this unit for under $50. It's an induction cooktop, and it just runs off 110. What's nice about this is it paired perfectly with the pots and pans we had bought back at Christmas at IKEA, and they work on it. So it gave us a way when we wanted to cook inside, let's say if it was raining outside, that we could still cook and not use the stove or the oven because of the propane issue. But what we found was there was a more positive impact than just giving us a way to cook inside this summer. This probably will be our preferred way of cooking, and here's why. When we turn on the stove and it's running on propane, it quickly heats up the RV, and that's fine if we're winter camping, but in the summer, the last thing you need is more heat in your RV. This gives off very little heat compared to the propane stove and oven. The nice thing is it heats up almost instantaneously. You have instant heat in your pot or your pan. You can boil water very quickly. You can saute, you can cook, you can do just about everything that you would do right here on the top of the stove. So this, for under $50, ended up being a really nice piece that we're just going to keep even once our stove is fixed, because we actually think it's a better way because we're not actually creating all that heat in the trailer. I mentioned that if you stayed to the end of this video, I'd tell you about the final change we made. And we didn't make this change until right before the last 2 weeks of the trip, and it dealt with navigation. We started off by utilizing the navigation built into my 2017 Toyota Tundra, but quite frankly, the Toyota navigation system just isn't that great, and there's no way to update it without spending big dollars to buy a new memory card to update your maps, and you have to do that every year, and it's around somewhere between $150 to $200 to do that. And I didn't want to spend that money, but I was also finding out that it just wasn't really accurate compared to what we're used to with prior GPSs. So then we tried using our cell phones, and things like Google Maps and Apple Maps and Waze work really great, but trying to look at a phone while you're driving just isn't the best way to do it. So we finally did some research, and we broke down and we bought this item right here, which is the Garmin 890 RV GPS system. Now, this is not a cheap upgrade. All the other items that I talked about, we spent less than $200 in total on. This one item was $500, but we decided that since it was dedicated for RVers, we thought maybe it was a good investment. Now, we've only used it, like I said, for a couple of weeks, and I can give you my overall thoughts on it, but I want to continue to use it this fall before I do a final video review on it. Here's what I can tell you that I like about it. I love the fact that it has this big 8-inch screen. It comes with a really high quality suction cup mount that is also the charging base, so you can literally just set it up here and it magnetically attaches, and to take it off, I just pull and I can take it inside. In essence, this is like an Android tablet. So you can do a lot of things with this. I can take it inside, I can map out my routes and do things like that you typically didn't do with a normal GPS. And again, I absolutely love this big 8-inch display that can go in either direction. So depending on whether you want this up and down alignment or if you want the side to side, I personally prefer the side to side, and that's what we use here in the truck. So I really like that. It's easy to see. It does have the voice command, so I can talk to it and ask it to find places, things like that. So that's what I really love about this. I love the fact that you can go in and program in your actual RV unit. So I was able to put in the length and the width of our truck and the height, and I did the same thing for our trailer, and it's supposed to take all of that into account when routing you. What I don't like about it is it's done some things that I didn't necessarily think were, well, it wouldn't be the way I would have went. For starters, the minute we picked this up at an Amazon hub in Connecticut and we were headed south, and it actually routed us down through New York City to the George Washington Bridge. Now, that even the Toyota and Waze and Google Maps didn't do that when we went north around New York City. So I really did not like that. That was probably the most stressful driving situation I have ever been in with towing an RV over the last 16 years. The second thing that it did was when we were headed back north up through Atlanta, it wanted me to actually go into the express lanes. Well, there are big signs for the express lanes in Atlanta that show you cannot have RVs or travel trailers or anything like that in the express lanes. And I kind of feel like the Garmin should know that. It should know that if we have an RV, then you can't be over in the express lane. The other thing that it did was just before we got home, I had gotten off to get fuel, and it didn't like the way I was heading, and I did need to turn around, but it actually wanted me to do a U-turn. So again, I don't know that it makes sense to have a GPS that supposedly is for an RVer saying do a U-turn, because if you've ever RV'd, you know U-turns really aren't that practical most of the time when you're using or towing or whatever with your RV. So I kind of have mixed feelings on this at this point, and the fact when you add in the price point of $500, I do expect a little bit more. But like I said, I'm going to continue to use it, try it out in some different scenarios. There was some updates that I was not able to get while we were on the road. I'm going to get all that software updated, and we're going to continue to use it, and I'll do a full video review on it. But overall, I do like the fact that it has this big screen, and it just makes it so much easier to see where we were going and the turns. It's just nice from that standpoint. All right, those are the changes we made during this 8-week summer trip that we took. What changes have you made? Sometimes the simplest changes are the ones that just make you that much more comfortable in your RV. Give me your favorite change you've made this summer to your RV and how it's changed your RV experience down in the comments. Until next time, everybody, thanks for watching, and we'll see y'all on down the road. Good night.